Hello fellow Sudokans, and welcome to Zen and the Art of the Guardian Sudoku Puzzle. It's Monday the 28th of August 2023. I hope you are keeping well. Monday, first day back at work for a lot of people. If you're retired, as I suspect many people on this channel are, I mean, why else would you be watching? You've clearly got nothing else better to do. Then it's just a Monday, right? But I love you anyway, so thank you for joining me. If you are new to the game of Sudoku, as many of you will be, because today is the easy or beginner level day, welcome. Let me just explain why this channel has such a weird name. It's because it's not just Sudoku. I like to chat about anything that takes my fancy on any particular day. Today I'm going to be talking about some Thai food. I live in Thailand, and I just noticed an article in today's Guardian from Rebecca Ratcliffe about the most popular Thai national dish. Now, if you, I think that some Thai food has become very popular over the years. Green curry is well known. The pad Thai has become very popular in recent years. The fried noodle dish, I'm talking about internationally, of course. And of course, maybe the most famous, the tom yum goong, which is the shrimp in sour soup type food. That's very well known, I think, in other countries. Certainly popular in Thai restaurants across the world. Although it's never as good outside Thailand, I have to tell you. But you could guess that anyway. Over the weekend, there was a competition held to find the best pad kapao, and that is a dish made of basically minced pork or minced chicken, and fried basil and chilies, and I think some onions in there. That's about it, really. Nothing else. Thai people are, the tourism authority of Thailand is quite concerned that this should be the most popular dish across the world because it's the most popular in Thailand. If you ask any Thai what's the national food, they would say that it's got a stereotypical kind of feel to it, like, you know, the English loving fish and chips. Even though actually curry is nowadays the national dish. Indian curry is far more delicious and nutritious. What else? Oh, like the hamburger in the US or something like that. And of course, you know, not everybody eats hamburgers, not everybody eats fish and chips, but a large proportion of people do. And certainly the pad kapao is extremely popular in Thailand. In fact, here's a tip for you. If there is a long queue at the local restaurant at lunchtime, if you order that, you will get it faster than anything else, because there are guaranteed to be at least 3 or 4 people ordering the same food, and they cook it in the pan at the same time and then just split it up. So if you've got a super long queue, if you order that, you'll get your food quickly. If you're a vegetarian, however, you're in trouble, of course, and I think that's one reason why it's not a super popular across the world, is because it's definitely not a vegetarian dish. It's very easy and simple, but I think actually it's a bit boring, really, compared to other Thai food. So probably that's the answer that they need if they're looking to why it's not as well known as other Thai foods internationally. Anyway, I'm mentioning this, as I say, there was an article in The Guardian because apparently there was a competition to find the definitive recipe for it over the weekend, but I didn't go. I didn't know anything about it until this morning. Right, let's get on with the game of Sudoku. How do we play this game? So you can see there's a grid. It's made up of 9 squares across in every single row. Every row has 9 squares. Now, some of these squares are filled in with digits. You can see 6, 9, 2, 3 here. Every column down has 9 squares. And again, you can see some digits are already appearing. And then we have these small 3x3 blocks. Oops, include that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of them, okay? And in each section there are 9. This is really a game of 9s. And so what we need to do is fill every block, every row, and every column with digits 1 to 9. That's it, really. The thing is, because there are only 9, it means that the number cannot reappear. So, for example, this 9 blocks down here. When I say blocks, I mean cannot reappear in this column. This 9 can't reappear in this column, and this 9 can't reappear in this row. So blocking, blocking, blocking. In other words, forbidding 9 from appearing. And now we have just one empty square. So we know for sure that the 9 goes there. And that's basically how we play the game of Sudoku. It's a game of logic, nothing to do with maths in the classic form. And that's it. You just have to understand a bit of basic logic to be able to play the game. So we have a 1 blocking across this row now. In other words, 1 exists in this row already, cannot reappear. 1 blocks across here like this, and 1 blocks down here. So now in this block here, there's just 1 empty square. We know for sure that it's a 1. It can't be any other digit. The game of Sudoku has a unique solution, and if you find only 1 square where a digit can go, that is where it goes. I promise you. That is the answer. So no need to look for any other numbers or anything like that. Getting the hang of it? Right, let's try and find a bit more, shall we? Okay, we have 4 blocking across here like this, 4 blocking across here like this, and 4 going up here. That's going to give us a 4 in that square. We'll take that 4 that we just put in and say 4 blocks down here and 4 blocks up here. So in this particular section here, that's where the 4 goes. So we just kind of have to, you use your eyes, look around up and down, and within the boxes themselves, blocks themselves, the 3x3 blocks, I mean. We have 2 blocking across here like this. Excuse me, 2 blocking across here like this, and 2 up there. There's a 2. I haven't had my morning coffee yet. I have had breakfast. It wasn't pad kapao. It was rice and vegetables. But that was much nicer. 2's blocking like this, and there's a 2 there. And by the way, if you are vegetarian, it's really difficult in Thailand unless you come in like something like the last week of October, I think it is, or second to last week in October, or sometime around then. We have vegetarian week. Otherwise, it can be really difficult to find vegetarian food in Thailand. I'm not. I was a vegetarian when I lived in England and had to give it up when I came to Thailand. It was just too difficult. But I don't eat much meat, I must admit. Where are we? I'll look for this stuff here. Okay, so if you're playing on a computer, excuse me, I'm gonna have some water. Okay, drinking that water allowed me to change my angle of view and find a 6. 6 is blocking like this. That's going to be a 6 in that square. We'll take that 6 that we just filled in. 6 blocks across here. 6 blocks across here. 6 is in that square. We'll take the 6 that we just filled in. 6 is blocking up here and across there, meaning that the 6 is in that square there. So it's a game. So the difficult thing about the game, one difficult thing about the game, is you have to look for things, right? So okay, now we know that every row must contain digits 1 to 9. So we have 1 in this row already, and we have 2. Do we have a 3 anywhere? No, we don't. So that's one of our missing numbers. We have 4, we have 5, we have 6. Do we have a 7 anywhere? No, we don't. Do we have 8? No, we don't. We have 9. So if you've remembered, we've got 3, 7, and 8 missing. And we have 3 empty squares. So we know that those 3 squares can only contain 3, 7, and 8 because we have all of the other numbers in this row. Now, what we need to do is look at the highlighted blue squares and see if we have any intersecting digits and of the ones that we need. And in fact, we see that the 3 intersects this square here, and when we look a bit further up, we find that the 7 also intersects this square here. So the 3 and the 7 cannot be in this square. Now I said there are only 3 digits missing, right? So if we know that this is not 3 and it's not 7, then it's got to be 8, hasn't it? Can't be anything else. And so now we know that these two squares will comprise 3 and 7, but at this stage we can't say which is which one is 3 and which one is 7, but we will find that out a bit later. So as I say, it involves a lot of looking. Sometimes we find, sometimes we don't find. What's missing from this column? We don't have 1, we don't have 2, and we don't have 5. We don't have 1, we don't have 2, we don't have... Now we have a 1 blocking this square, or this one blocking this square. So we know that 1 has to be in one of these two squares up here. We have a 2 blocking here. So that means we know that 2 is either in this square or this square, and we don't have any information about 5s. So the point is that we can't complete this column with our current information just yet. We have to look elsewhere, and you know, that's the fun of the game. It's the tedious part, but it's the fun part as well, is searching for the digits, and that's why you will enjoy playing the game. I'm not saying that in a fascistic way. I'm not ordering you to enjoy it. I'm just saying I think you will enjoy it. I'm trying to look for anything very simple first of all, because I would much prefer to show you the easiest methods and things that we need first of all. I don't want to show you anything complicated because it might turn you off, but I promise you there are a lot of complicated things that we can do when it comes to the more advanced levels of Sudoku. But at the moment I'm just looking for something nice and easy, hopefully, that I can find. And I'm not finding it. Alright, so if you're playing on a computer, one thing you... I think we do. We can click on the ones like this. If you click on the first digit, and you see the ones blocking up like this, in fact we will find a 1 here. There we go. There was something straightforward after all. And now we have to look and see if we can do any more in an easy way. Well, we can, and I might as well show you. So this is not quite as easy as what I've showed you so far, but it's not that much more difficult. What you have to do is you have to think forward a little bit and say what can be true. Okay, so we have the 1 blocking across here like this, right? And we've got the 1 blocking up here like this. So in this block here, we've got 2 empty squares now. Okay, we can't say which one the 1 appears in, but we know it's either this square or this square. Can't be in any other squares. So if the 1 appears in this square here, it will block all the way down the bottom here, right, like this. And if the 1 appears in this square, the same thing applies. It will block all the way down here. So it doesn't matter whether 1 is in either, which of these 2 squares it's in, it will definitely block down here. Okay? Right, now we have 1 blocking up here like this, and we have 1 blocking across here like this. So in fact we can say that this square here must be a 1, even though we don't know where 1 appears in this block up here. It's either here or here, and so the 1 must go in that square there. Now we can't finish off the digit ones. If we actually look for where they can go right now, we'll find there are 2 more digit ones to get on the board, and they fall into this kind of pattern like this, like it looks a bit like a rectangle or something. So if digit 1 appears in this square, it won't be able to appear in this square because it'll be in the same row, but it will appear in this square here. And if digit 1 appears in this square, then it will appear in that square there. So we just need 1 more of them and then we can finish them off. But at the moment we can't say which is which. Okay, now let's take this 8 blocking across here, and that will give us the 8 in that square. And then we'll take that 8 blocking back and forwards over in this direction, which will give us the 8 there. Alright, now let's have a look at this row here. This row does not yet have a digit 8, but I've noticed something. We have an 8 blocking this square, We have an 8 blocking this square. We have an 8 blocking this square. So this square alone is the only square in this row that is not affected by an intersecting 8. And so we know again it must go there. Now this 8 blocks down here and this 8 blocks across here. So we can say that the 8 is in that square there. Again, we can't finish off the 8s because we're left with this kind of pattern. So 8s will either be in these two squares or they will be in these two squares. We don't know for now. But anyway, let's come back up here because now there's only one empty square in this block of 9. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Do we have a 5? No. 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep. So it's got to be a 5. 2 blocks all the way down here and blocks down here. That means we're going to have a 2 in this square. And now this is the only empty square in this column. So we look up and down and see what we've got already. 1, we have 2, we have 3, we have... Do we have a 4 anywhere? No. That is because it's the missing number, and so the 4 goes there. Then we'll take that 4 that we just placed and say it blocks across to the left. This 4 blocks across here, and in this block over here, which doesn't yet have a 4, that's where the 4 goes. Now this 4 blocks down here and 4 blocks across here means that the 4 goes there, and then this 4 blocks across here like this and puts the 4 there, and that is the final digit 4. There is a 4 in every row, every column and every block, so there are no more 4s to find. That's what we know. Now we'll come down here because there's one empty square in this block. We don't yet have a 3. We can see we've got everything else, so we'll put our 3 there. And now in this column there's just one space, and that will fit a 7. We don't yet have a 7. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 and 9. We don't have a 7, so let's put the 7 in. 3 blocks this square. We still don't have a 3 in this block here, so we know that the 3 goes there. And now there's only one number to get here, which is a 5. And if you think I'm finding these numbers a bit quickly, it's just from having played a lot of games. There's no magic or anything like that, just practice. In this row, what don't we yet have? We don't yet have a 9. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and no 9 yet, so there's the 9 that we can fill in there. Right, we've made quite a lot of progress, haven't we? So normally what I do is just see where we just have like 1 or 2 missing, and here we only have 2 digits missing. We're looking here for 3 and we're looking for 7. 3 and 7, and I don't see any intersecting 3s or 7s that can affect it. But here's a quick tip for you. If there are only 2 empty squares here, and this is 3 or 7, and when I look at this row, and again there are only 2 empty squares here, I know that this square here is also either 3 or 7. So I didn't have to kind of look through the digits and work it out. It's just because there were 2 empty squares here, there have to be the same digits in these squares as well. Now it doesn't help actually. It doesn't help, but anyway. Right, so let's have a look at this row at the bottom here. What are we missing? We don't have 2 and 5. Now that does help us because we have an intersecting 2 here which blocks down here, so this can't be 2. So that would be the 2, and the last number to get in this row now is a 5. Right, where do we look next? Well, there's a couple of empty squares over here, so let's see what goes in there. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't have 5. We've got 6, 8, 9. We don't have 7. So these 2 squares can only contain 5 or 7 to complete this row. As luck would have it, we have an intersecting 7 here, and so the 7 goes there. And now we know a 5 will complete it. Now this 7 also blocks down here, the 7 we just placed, meaning that this can't be 7, so the 7 must be in that square. That 7 blocks across here, and that will give us the 7 here. And if you remember, we had 7 and 3 in these 2 squares and in these 2 squares, so we know now that this square is a 3 and this square is also a 3. There's just one empty square in this column down. We need a 3 to complete it, so we'll put that in. Right, where to now, James? Well, we've done a lot of the grid, haven't we? We've got still got an area to cover in the northwest. So let's see what we can do. We have 3 empty squares in this block. So let's see what we need. We don't have 1, we don't have 3, and we don't have 9. Now down here I see the 1 and 3 together, which is very nice, because when we come up blocking up here, the 1 blocks up here, the 3 blocks up here. That means that this square can't be 1 or 3. And there's only one other digit. 1 and 3 are going to be in these squares, right? And this has got to be 9. Okay, now we'll take that 9, bring it down, and this 9 blocking across, which will give us the 9 in that square there. Now we can get this. I'm sure we can get this empty square here, because we know what goes here. We know this is 1 and 3, and we've got everything else in this column. And so because we know that these 2 squares must be 1 and 3, we're looking for everything else. So let's just see. We've got 1 in these squares, 2, 3 up here, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9. There's no 8, and so we know that this has to be an 8. Now the 8 will take across here like this, and 8 down here, which will give us the final digit 8. Now 4, 8, and 9 are completed digits. That means there are no more 4s, no more 8s, and no more 9s to find on the grid. What do we need? Well, we can see this 5 blocking up here, and we need a 5 in this block here, so this can't be a 5, this must be 5. And also we needed 5 in this row, and we know that the 5 blocking here will put the 5 there. And now we just have 1 empty square here, and we're going to fill that with a 6. And we have 1 empty square in this row or this block, and that's the same thing. It's going to be a 6. Now the 6's block up here like this with a 6 across, which means that this must be our 6. Now there's just 1 empty square for this column, and that's going to be filled with a 2. Right, not much more left to go, is there really? Let's see what we have. 1, 3, 5, 7. So 7 blocks across here like this, 7 blocks up here. That will give us a 7 in that square. And at the top here, we still need what is it we need? See, by the way, if you're wondering why it takes me a while, because I don't have the solution worked out. I'm playing the game live, and I never work out these. If you're new to the channel, you should know I don't play these games ahead of time. I just turn on the camera and play. 3 blocks across here, that's going to give me the 3 there. And we remember that we had a 1 to finish here. So 1 blocks across here. Here's our 1. Now there's only one number, and you'll notice that there's it's the same number for the block, or for the row, or for the column. It doesn't matter. It's going to be a 5, whichever way you look at it. And that's our game, our beginner level game for the Guardian. And I hope you understood that. There are plenty of other easy level games on the channel. If you go to the playlists and then click on easy or beginner, or maybe there'll be a square with the easy beginner channel that you can click on and find lots of other easy games if you are new to the game. Thank you very much for joining me. Come back for the slightly trickier stuff tomorrow, or anytime you feel like it, or just go back and see. There are a lot of old games on this channel worth investigating, and a link to where you can find the games to play for yourself. Bye bye.